I don't know why this game wasn't more obvious. Maybe it's because it was too obvious. Is that it? I really don't know. It's like I feel like we should have seen it coming, but it also didn't seem likely. But it did. I don't know. Maybe it's because we already had two. Like we had the original Hyrule Warriors. So then getting a second one seemed really surprising. So I don't know if we got a second one, really shows kind of a pattern. Why wouldn't we get a third one? We got one for Breath of the Wild. Why wouldn't we get one for Tears of the Kingdom? Maybe it's because it didn't feel as necessary to fill in any more story. It didn't really seem like there was more to tell in that story. But I don't know. At the same time, Breath of the Wild had its like past stuff to fill in, and I suppose it is true that Tears of the Kingdom also has a past thing, a bunch of past ancient events, and we'll talk about that in a minute here. I am torn. I'm really torn about this. First of all, I'm a little mad, like irrationally mad, just because for like a second, it seemed like it might be a prequel to Tears of the Kingdom starring Zelda. For just like a second, that's what I thought it might be. Just like another Zelda game, but a 3D one, that'd be amazing. But no, it is a third Hyrule Warriors game, and I should be excited because I really did like the others. I played both of them. I played the original. I probably beat like the campaign or whatever, but that game has such an absurd amount of content. I just kind of played it for a while until I was done playing it. And then, I actually played a ton of Age of Calamity. I feel like it really, really improved the experience so dramatically. Just the idea of Hyrule Warriors. Sure, it didn't like span all the different games. It was more focused on Breath of the Wild. But just, I don't know, the gameplay and everything. It was really good. No, I really played it a lot. I really, really enjoyed it. But I think both of those games were games that like I played a bunch because they're kind of addictive. But once I was done, I was kind of done forever. Like I 100%ed Age of Calamity. I might have played it for 100 hours before I did. But I cannot see myself picking it up ever again. The games are very grindy and repetitive, and they can really get their hooks in you. But it's like, I actually don't even know if I want more after already spending that much time. I might have had my fill, even though that was like, almost 5 years ago now. I might be done. I don't actually know if I want another Hyrule Warriors game, because it really is grindy and repetitive. It really is just like the same thing over and over again, remixed very slightly. You're just chasing the numbers, you're just leveling stuff up. So I don't know. And the other reason I'm torn is that it's filling in some of the untold story of Tears of the Kingdom. And I hate the story of Tears of the Kingdom. I have a big fat review in production, and no doubt I spend a really good, probably annoyingly long amount of time ranting and raving about the story and my problems with it. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a good time. But yeah, I just like, I hate it. I think it's a bad story. I hate what Nintendo did with it. In the case of Breath of the Wild, it had a disappointing story, but it was mostly because it was so minimal and it was kind of empty. So then Age of Calamity came around, and it really helped. It really did kind of help fill out that story and show off the events that happened that I wanted to see in Breath of the Wild but didn't. So that was good. But Tears of the Kingdom story is not bad because it's minimal. It's bad because it's bad. It's bad because it's stupid. Like, it's sorry to be harsh, but I mean, like, it is minimal, but that's not its only problem. It's that it's just telling the same story again and pretending like it's a new story, and it just misses every opportunity to actually expand upon the really cool lore established in Age of Calamity. It just misses it. It misses it every single opportunity. It completely squanders it. And so here, this is the story of the Imprisoning War. It's right there in the title. And I do this rant in the review, spoilers, but like, yeah, so this is the Imprisoning War, which is not to be confused with the other Imprisoning War in the Zelda timeline, and also not to be confused with the Imprisoning War from Breath of the Wild, where they fought to imprison Calamity Ganon. This is a different Imprisoning War, where they similarly fight to imprison Ganondorf, who the characters in Tears of the Kingdom don't even seem to understand is related to Calamity Ganon. So it's one pretty big problem. So yeah, I don't like the story. I'm mad at it. And I don't want to explore it. It just disregards everything that it should not disregard, and rewrites a lot just for no good reason. It's a really bad story. So yeah, I don't know if I want more. Nintendo could have made it so cool. Like, that's the missed opportunity, you know? We had Breath of the Wild, and then they announced Tears of the Kingdom, and then they gave us Age of Calamity, and they really had something going there. It was like, just all of a sudden, it was like, whoa. Nintendo is building a trilogy of Zelda stories here. That was big. That was huge. This is an ongoing thing. No Zelda game has ever, no collection of Zelda games have ever done this before. And then, yeah, and then, sorry, not to go on about it, but Tears of the Kingdom, it just squandered that opportunity. It was done. It just ruined it. So that's why I'm not really that excited for this. But at the same time, could it be possible that this game will help? In the same way that Age of Calamity helped fill out the story of Breath of the Wild, kind of. You know, I don't want to super spoil it for anybody who's not played it yet, especially if now on Switch 2, we might be able to play it with a better performance and whatnot. That was really the biggest problem. It fills in a lot of the story, but then there's kind of like some sort of alternate stuff in there. It's not really just exactly a prequel, but it did help. And so is it possible that I'm not being fair, and this could end up helping Tears of the Kingdom in the same way? Could it be possible that Age of Imprisonment will retroactively make Tears of the Kingdom's story a little bit better? I don't know. At this stage, I am skeptical, because again, the problem was not just a lack. The problem was not just unanswered questions. It was poor storytelling. So I don't know if it's possible, but I want to be open to the idea. I don't want to just shut down this whole thing without doing it myself, without seeing it and playing it for myself. I really don't know. And I am really curious to see how they're going to do it, because like I said, Age of Calamity was kind of alternate. And they had a lot of really creative ways to bring in a lot of characters. And I do not know how they're going to justify that here, unless they do another similar thing. But then that would be awful. That would just be another example of Tears of the Kingdom unnecessarily retreading Breath of the Wild's story instead of building upon it. It would just be another example of it being an unnecessary retread instead of actually something that stands on its own or stands as a continuation of the previous story. So I don't know. Because yeah, here, you know, it shows off the main fighters. You got Zelda, and you've got the couple of Zonai, and then you've got the warriors, the sages, you know, the Goron and the Zor, like all of them. And that is cool. I will say that is cool. Tears of the Kingdom really did not explore these characters very well at all. In fact, all of the cutscenes that they were in were intensely boring. Like, every time, I was almost conditioned to hate them. Every time you see one of these characters, it's just like the same cutscene over and over again. But they are cool. The potential is there. Come on, like, even just in Breath of the Wild, the idea of the Goron warrior, it's awesome. The champions, it's super cool. So now these ones are all ancient, and they got all this really sick armor. It could be cool. And maybe even just that would help. Maybe even just fleshing out these characters a little more and just having us spend more time with them. Maybe that would be enough to at least help. But again, like I said, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to bring in more characters. I don't know how they're going to like find a way to give us a playable Link. I don't know. Is there going to be, oh, there's a special technology that lets Link temporarily move through time just so he can help us fight here. I don't know. Like, it's, how do you do it? How do you integrate that into the actual story in a way that it is not like stepping on the toes of the story that is told? It has to fit. It has to integrate. It has to be something that could feasibly happen during the events of that game, but not necessarily affect the actual story in Tears of the Kingdom. And I really just genuinely have no idea how they're going to do that. And it would be weird if they scaled it back. It'd be weird if the other game had like a bunch of characters and this one has like 9. There would be some other like side characters, sure, but yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, because like in Breath of the Wild, those events took place only 100 years in the past. This is like a trillion billion years or whatever. Before Hyrule was founded, but not before it was founded the other time, before it was like founded again, question mark, I don't know. So who could they have? What other characters could they possibly have? I don't know, whatever. Yeah, so I just don't know. I don't know what I think about it. I think I'm not really that excited right now. That's not to say that I never will be or never will play it. I do like Zelda. Again, I liked the other games. I just don't know. I also really don't know what other people think. I have not really spent a lot of time on social media. Are people excited about this? Personally, I keep forgetting it exists. I was like dust in my hands and I'm like, all right, I've covered all the major games. Now I gotta cover the other stuff. And I'm like, oops, I completely spaced on this game existing whatsoever. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the consensus is. I don't know if it's like, does this feel kind of unnecessary? Or is it like, no, this is great. This is cool. It's more Zelda. Like, there you go. It is another opportunity, a fourth opportunity to use parts of this map. And I will say, it is absolutely worth saying, you know, if this is a Switch 2 exclusive, that's great because, yeah, it's going to run better. That was really the big problem with Age of Calamity. It could really, really, really slow down, like absolutely crazy. And so if they could keep this running pretty steady while you're chopping through hundreds and hundreds of baddies with all the lighting effects and whatnot, that right there is going to make it a pretty good experience. So maybe it'll be worth playing just for that. I don't know.